All right, everybody. Hi, Aaron here. It's, the second weekend in July, and you can tell I'm sitting outside. It's wonderful out here, and I hope you're having a good weekend so far. So here's what we're talking about this weekend. In Matthew 28, Jesus, just before he steps back into, hey, that's cool, right? Anyway, just before he steps back into heaven, he's like, y'all go make disciples of the whole world, teaching them to keep my commandments and obey everything that I've taught you, baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit. That's Matthew 28. So now what I'm thinking about here is discipleship. And you'll notice by the title of today's stream that it's Discipleship First. Jesus didn't say, be like lazy and be complacent. He said, be disciples. Go in the world and teach others to be disciples, teaching them to obey everything that I taught you. Now I want you to imagine what kind of life we would all have if we obeyed the things Jesus said. Not being hateful, not being angry, not being selfish. You look around the world, and the biggest problem in the world is we're selfish, we're destructive. So imagine if the church, you and me, people who claimed to be Jesus' disciples, actually acted like it. Imagine if we were those who healed instead of harmed, those who, laughed things off instead of getting angry, those who sought people out to help them heal. If we taught people to obey. Now, of course, this means that we have to obey first, right? You and I have to take seriously the things of Jesus, for certainly the last thing the world needs right now is a bunch of hypocrites. Oh, and by the way, hit us up over here on the chat, because Landon's sitting right here and he can help me out see what's going on with the chat. I'd like everybody to just jump in with where we're going here. So anyway, back to discipleship. Now, what is a disciple? A disciple is someone who disciplines themselves. So we have to discipline ourselves. The Olympics coming up in 2 weeks, I believe, over in Tokyo. Those people, those athletes discipline themselves to be at their best for their event. Well, life is our event. Are we disciplining ourselves to make this our best event? And how is this our best event? Well, when we follow Jesus, because the way he has laid out for us is the way that we're supposed to be, the true humanity. Because, being selfish isn't true humanity. Being a hedonist isn't true humanity. Being for others, being kind and loving and healing the world around us that evil, sin, and death is broken. Now that is true humanity. And imagine the kind of life we would live if we did that. Imagine the peace. Instead of carrying around on our back the anger and the misery of the whole world, we would be those who are effusively kind, effusively loving and generous to everyone around us. All of these houses here around us, these folks, we love them. We know many of them, and we want to help them be their best. And that's what Jesus wants too. So step number 1 is I'm a disciple. Step number 2 is I help others be disciples, which in reality helps everybody live the kind of life God always wanted them to live, and the kind of life they were made to live. And so I'm going to invite us all today. You watching this, me sitting here on our back porch on this wonderful July evening. How are we helping others? How are we being a disciple? How are we teaching others to obey what Jesus commands? Are we hypocrites? Do we allow others to be hypocrites around us? Because the last thing the world needs is hypocrites. The gospel of Jesus Christ isn't boring and it isn't hateful. It's just our presentation. How is our presentation of it today? I'm going to invite us all to examine that, to be disciples, to be better disciples, to grow in our faith every day. And as a guy I follow on YouTube says, stumble towards the light. I'm going to invite us all to stumble towards the light in our discipleship. The light, of course, being God. We may not be perfect, but we can try. And we can try to be the kind of people God has created us to be. So, Saturday evening, I encourage you to watch this, to be a disciple, to spread healing to those around you, and go to a worship service this weekend. All right, thanks, and make sure to comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You know the bit. I'll talk to you later. Aaron out.